Most of our organizations operate in business unit silos that have grown up because of some internal processes or systems or products. Many of our organizations are pivoting toward kind of product-oriented silos, but even they don't really necessarily reflect the true experience that users are having. An example here is a USAA example, where I was until about 18 months ago. So USAA's bank was organized prior to two and a half years ago the way every other bank organizes, which is directly reporting up to the president. You have P&L groups that are responsible for, one responsible for the checking account, one responsible for the savings account, credit card, auto loans, home loans, investing, etc. But 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, they decided to truly embrace more of an experiential organization. So now they got rid of product owners. They don't have product owners and product managers in the bank at USA anymore. They have experience owners. And the people that report directly up to the president, now there's a daily spending experience owner who reports directly up to the president with a team around them. And that person is responsible not only for the checking account, but also for daily spending on the credit card. And not just for the experience or the product, but for everything. They're the CEO of that experience. They're responsible for the risk, the compliance, the third-party suppliers, the profit and loss, the pricing, everything, and the experience. So, connecting ideas, we create maps. We can understand our users by going out and talking, by observing, by listening. We can inventory our touch points and we can map the two together, and through those touch points we can understand how we're being impacted by the rest of the business. So we can start to see where, butterfly flaps its wings deep in the bowels of a process department over here. We can start to understand the chain of events that then leads that to either a positive or negative experience from a customer perspective. I use the kind of on-stage, off-stage metaphor there, right? The touch points being the on-stage, everything else the business does, the rest of the cube being the off-stage. And we can use that to help create and form our teams around a common language and around experiences as shared goals. The why. Why is this important? So we'll go right back to what I mentioned at the beginning of the talk. It's important because organizations really need to, our design teams really need to have more of a strategic impact to organizations. So at Capital One, we have a 450-person design team. So we were one of the last groups standing up when Miles asked us to do that yesterday. And that's been built up over 3 or 4 years. And we're quite adept at partnering with our product and engineering teams across all the different lines of business to create great mobile apps and websites and physical interactions and other channel touch points. And we do that in a fairly strategic way. We help those teams figure out what they should be and their capabilities, and we do design thinking stuff, and we get out there and all that kind of stuff. But we haven't really been successful yet at influencing the direction the business is going. Capital One is a 50,000-person organization. It's a fairly young and nimble organization in the scheme of financial services. It's only 25, 26 years old. And we pivot quite quickly. But those pivots generally come from our senior executive team and their business strategy groups. And there have been a number of pivots over the years as Capital One has decided to get into different lines of business and broaden itself from credit cards and think about international and expand itself. But I believe that the next pivot we need to make is much more of an experiential one. And the design team, which we call One Design at Capital One, the design team needs to be very, very involved and influential, and even driving that change. If we don't do that, we won't be able to create far more meaningful experiences for our customers.